Welcome to Critical Thinking Skills in Science. We're on Chapter 9, Different Scientific Models, session number 4. In this session, we're going to be looking at the scientific model that's been called theistic evolution. Now that is, we've looked at evolutionary science, and now then we design intelligent design theory science, and now we're looking at theistic evolutionary science. Just looking at the title of it, you can tell, okay, it's got a little different flavor to it because one, it puts theistic first, which means God, and then evolution, which is a natural unfolding. And what we have here is a kind of a dual, it's a Western, very Western idea, and we'll go down through it. Primary source is, what is the primary source of reliable knowledge? Would be human reasoning. Secondary sources would be empiricism and God's Word, revelation. Even though they separate it by saying that, okay, God's Word, revealed Word, is only authoritative within the spiritual realm. It is not authoritative in the scientific realm. We have two different realms of authority, which this has been probably pretty much developed by Thomas Aquinas in the division of the sacred and secular and the different thoughts of domain, in that we have science, and science is under the domain of the scientists and the men of science, whereas the other domain, which would be the spiritual domain, the domain of God, that comes under the authority of the church. So we have those three primary sources again: human reason, secondary sources, empiricism through the senses, and external authority, God through revelation. Theistic evolution, again, what culture is it? Well, again, this is a very Western, because it's separating the matter from the spirit world, and that you can then give the spirit world over to dominion, over to the church, and then you give matter over to science, and that each one can look at and discover things through its own domain. Theology, God exists. Ontology, matter is first, and then spirit. Spirit is not a governing principle over matter, but they both have their areas of domain. First cause, natural unfolding with slow, gradual, and random changes to existing structures. The difference between this is like in intelligent design, there is an intelligence, there is a power that intervenes into the system. At some point, it is injected and it gives intelligence into the system, whereas theistic evolution keeps them very separate, both processes very clean and separate, whereas the first cause is God, yes, but then it's a whole natural unfolding and changes to existing structures. What are the core beliefs of theistic evolution? The core belief is the Bible is not a reliable source of scientific knowledge about the origin of the earth and the universe. Okay, so the Bible is not an accurate or historical document that proposes to document what God actually did in the creation week. So what is the document good for then? Well, the Bible is a reliable source of knowledge about God and the spiritual domain, the spiritual things. Scientific evidence is irrelevant to the Bible. It is simply not a science book. So in other words, science has nothing to do with Bible, and Bible has nothing to do with science. Those are two domains that are to be repelled or to be maintained completely separated from each other. So you can talk science all you want and all that science proclaims to say and accept it. And then you can go to the domain of church, your domain of Bible, and then you can believe in everything what it says, as long as you keep the two domains very separated. The creation story in Genesis 1 is a confession of faith in the true Creator, intended to refute pantheism and polytheism, not to tell us how God actually created the world. So again, that is a perspective. That is theistic evolution and what that model believes in and how it comes to looking at science and God. This model is supported by the Catholic Church and a growing number of evangelical churches and seminaries. It seems in the last 20, 30 years there's a dynamic change that's coming over the churches, and that a lot of them are abandoning what they used to hold on to, which would be a creation model that God created, and that they're going more towards a combined model that is, well, yeah, we still believe in God, but he's over here in this domain. We believe in science in this domain, and those two are giving us the truth from two different perspectives, and therefore we must maintain that division. So this is theistic evolution. What we've looked at is evolutionary theory. We've looked at intelligent design theory, and now we've looked at the evolutionary or theistic evolution and how that separates and looks at things differently. So that's why when we talk about science, and you say, okay, well, yeah, how do we do critical thinking in science? Well, it all depends on what kind of science you're talking about. Because in the beginning, scientia, just meant knowledge, how to get to knowledge. And so each model has its own particular rules, its own particular basic beliefs, its own source of reliable knowledge, and what it believes about the God theology, what it believes about ontology, what it believes about first causes. That's wrapping up session number 4. We have a few more sessions to go, and we have different models going along the way. We're Tim and Holly, and if you'd like to communicate with us, you can through the following addresses that are on the board behind me. Thank you again.